Hello, I'm Michael and welcome to my channel Retro Deviation, where I analyze and discuss movies, TV, and video games that deviate from their counterparts. Thanks for clicking on my video. In this episode, I'll be comparing Shadow Warrior 3 to its predecessors. Shadow Warrior 3 deviated from the series. I enjoyed the sequel, but I remember wishing it was more like the reboot, which was more linear and story-driven. The sequel ended up being a semi-open world RPG, with each area being its own playground, including a bunch of side quests and randomly generated weapon mods that boost your firepower in crazy ways. It was a huge departure from the more streamlined reboot. I loved the Shadow Warrior reboot, so I was thrilled to find out that Shadow Warrior 3 was going to be a lot more like that and less like the sequel. Shadow Warrior never really took itself seriously. I mean, the main character's name is a dick joke, and Lo Wang went bald and regrew his hair back throughout the course of the series. The 2013 reboot revitalized the Shadow Warrior franchise, while staying true to the original formula with the katana and shuriken, different colored keycards to progress.
Chopping dudes to bits again!
Shooting or slicing up Yakuza and demons with an impressive arsenal of weapons while spitting out one-liners till it goes out of style. It was a love letter to the original that started it all. Shadow Warrior 2 expanded on the first one in just about every way. Big open areas for each mission, an insane amount of weapons of every kind. I'm talking everything from rocket launchers to money stacks. It has it all. More customization than you'll know how to do with. Different elements, shooting modes, even dual-wield mods. It was surprised to see that Shadow Warrior 3 kind of scaled everything back to that first game. One weapon wheel's worth of guns, one katana. This was to fine-tune the combat so everyone could enjoy it. Nobody wants to scroll through hundreds of weapon mods to get it to the handful of good ones. So I accepted these changes, and I respect the new direction.
Look at that! Looks like a Michael Bay movie.
Hey, if you can't do it in style, why bother?
It goes without being said that Shadow Warrior 3 looks amazing. Sure, the graphics are great, but how does the gameplay hold up? Does it have the same witty dialogue? Does Wang have his very own badass arsenal of weapons? Rest assured, this game keeps everything that makes the series great. Demon slaying, wisecracks, and chi blasts are back. The katana, revolver, shotgun, and dual-wield SMGs all make a return, with a few new weapons like the shuriken spitter crossbow and the basilisk railgun, which feels like it was ripped right out of the Doom guy's hands. Doom Eternal was definitely a source of inspiration too, with a couple new features being the grappling hook and finishers, the latter being my favorite new addition to the series. Finishers in Shadow Warrior 3 give Wang a temporary weapon unique to the enemy killed. These weapons can be devastating. Anything from a giant drill reminiscent of Bioshock 2 to an akimbo minigun. Towards the end of the game, these must be utilized for survival.
This is what I call a PowerPoint presentation. I point, you die.
The grappling hook adds some much needed elevation, but with that comes the removal of sprint. That's right, they remove the ability to run. The dash is still here, and the default speed is fast enough to get you where you need to go. But the closest thing to a sprint in Shadow Warrior 3 is dashing forward over and over again. Another mechanic that has been removed is the stamina bar, which I don't mind as much. Running out of stamina got me killed a lot in the first game. A few other things that didn't carry over were the hidden fortune cookies and specific elemental weaknesses for certain enemies. The latter makes more sense since there are no longer weapon mods that add elements to your guns. In its place, we have upgrade orbs, and there are two kinds of upgrade orbs. One used for weapons and one for character upgrades. There are a couple elements that you can unlock further into the skill tree.
Have you looked in a mirror lately? Don't.
So there are two kinds of upgrade orbs, one used for weapons and one used for character upgrades. These are scattered throughout the level, but most of them are directly in your path. A few of them are well hidden. Another new addition to the series is the Challenges tab. Upon completing one of the challenges, you receive a new upgrade orb used in the Character or Weapons tab. This adds a fun new gameplay loop, forcing you to use different weapons and kill demons in different ways for more of those precious orbs. And you're going to want as many of those orbs as possible because some of the weapon upgrades are game-changing. Like the Popping Heads revolver skill, which enables headshots with the revolver to trigger an explosion, clearing the area of any cannon fodder. There aren't nearly as many hidden secrets as the first two games, which is slightly disappointing. It's clear this game was streamlined into something similar to the experience from the original, which I was very fond of. I wasn't a fan of the departure from the original in Shadow Warrior 2. The weapon mods just felt unnecessary. There was too many to put to use. You had to play on really hard difficulties to get any mods that were worth anything. I much preferred the upgrade menu from the first, with each purchasable upgrade feeling distinct from each other. Instead of picking up the same useless mods over and over again, the third installment focuses on the menu style from the first game. Every orb you collect is put to use. The last thing I noticed missing was the self-heal, enemy lift, and block chi powers. Instead of that, we got one chi blast that feels like a Jedi Force push. The only power I actually used in the original was the self-heal. It was necessary to survive those late-game encounters, and it felt like an exploit every time I used it. So I can honestly say, I don't miss the chi powers. The chi blast, while not as effective against large demons, was a good way to crowd control, blasting enemies into spikes, off of ledges, or stunning them for a quick follow-up. I gotta say, this installment is much more focused on the things that it does well and left all the half-baked, tacked-on mechanics in the past. I enjoyed my time with Shadow Warrior 3. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and it excels at one thing: kicking demon ass and laughing about it.
What's that? I can't hear you over the sound of how awesome I am.
Thanks for checking out my video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like or subscribe if you want to see the rest of my videos that are soon to come. If you have any thoughts or opinions about the Shadow Warrior games, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you think. Thanks for the support. Stay safe, everyone.